They think you're weird, but you're among the top 1% of dark chosen ones. They stare, they whisper, they wonder, and maybe you do too. Why do you feel like this? Why do you walk through this world like a ghost among the living, like a shadow even in the daylight? You've probably asked yourself 1,000 times, why don't I fit in? Why do people feel uneasy around me, even when I speak gently, even when I smile? Why do I pick up on things others ignore, feel things others don't feel, sense the truth behind the lies? That's because you're not like them. You were never meant to be. You are among the 1%, the dark chosen ones. Not dark in the way of evil, but dark in the way of depth. Depth that terrifies shallow souls. You see, we live in a world that rewards surface. It applauds noise, chaos, conformity. But you were born with silence in your bones, with shadows stitched into your soul. You didn't choose this path, it chose you. And society doesn't understand what it didn't create. That's why they label you weird, antisocial, intense, too much. But the truth is, you're not too much. You are exactly enough. You are the perfect vessel for something ancient, something powerful, something most people are too afraid to even see.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
The dark chosen ones are not here to blend in. We're not here to smile politely and pretend life is all sunshine and blue skies. We are here as disruptors, initiators, awakeners. We are the ones who walk through fire, not because we enjoy the burn, but because we know what lies on the other side. Pain has been your teacher. Isolation has been your initiation. And that feeling you've had since childhood that you were watching the world from behind a veil, that's because you were. Have you ever looked around and felt like everyone is asleep, yet they think you're the one who's disconnected? That's the paradox of awakening. The moment you open your eyes, you realize how many people are still blind. And in that blindness, they fear the light you carry. But your light is not golden or pastel. It's not the kind they put on greeting cards or yoga studio walls. Your light is obsidian, forged in the underworld of your shadow. It is the light that comes after loss, after betrayal, after standing alone in the wreckage and deciding to rise anyway. Most people never meet their shadow. They run from it. They deny it. But not you. You faced it. Maybe not all at once, maybe not even fully, but enough to know that inside you lives both a destroyer and a creator. And that is the essence of the dark chosen ones. We are not here to play one side of the spectrum. We are here to integrate it all. We don't reject the darkness, we master it. Because only through mastering it can we wield it. And only by wielding it can we protect those who still sleep. You've been through things that would break most people. You've survived betrayals so deep they restructured your DNA. You've been abandoned, misunderstood, mocked, maybe even feared. But with every wound, you didn't just grow stronger, you grew stranger. And that strangeness is your gift. It's what sets you apart. It's what calls others like you, even if you haven't met them yet. Let me ask you something deeply uncomfortable. When was the last time you truly felt seen by someone? Not just noticed, not just heard, but seen? If your answer is I can't remember, then you're not alone. We walk among billions and rarely find reflections. But every once in a while, we do. And when that happens, it's like two galaxies colliding. You know instantly, this person isn't normal either. They've walked through the same darkness. They've tasted the same silence. And in that moment, we remember we were never truly alone. But why were you chosen? Why do you carry this energy? It's not about superiority. It's about responsibility. The dark chosen ones are guardians of hidden wisdom. We carry the codes of transformation, not the kind you read in books, but the kind that shatters you and rebuilds you from ash. We are the ones who hold space when others collapse. We are the ones who speak truth when others stay silent. We are the ones who descend into the underworld not to get lost, but to bring back fire. And that fire, it changes everything. It burns illusions. It breaks chains. But it also isolates you. Because when you carry that kind of fire, people sense it even if they can't name it. They recoil, not because you've done anything wrong, but because your very presence challenges their comfort. You remind them of the parts of themselves they buried, and that's why they think you're weird. That's why they whisper. That's why they avoid you or try to change you or try to silence you. But I'm here to tell you this: don't let them. Don't shrink. Don't dim your flame to make others comfortable. You weren't born to be liked, you were born to be real. You were born to disrupt. You were born to guide. And yes, that path is lonely. Yes, it's brutal. But it is also sacred beyond words. You are a mirror. And not everyone wants to see their reflection, especially not the parts they've spent a lifetime burying. But that's your role. That's your power. You are the storm and the stillness, the abyss and the ladder out. You've walked through hell and made it your temple. And now your presence alone is a transmission. You don't need to preach. You are the message. So I ask you this: what if your weirdness is your wisdom? What if the very things they mocked you for are the signs of your initiation? What if the reason you've always felt like an outsider is because your soul belongs to a different realm, a realm of truth, of transformation, of transcendence? You know this. Deep down, you know. You felt it in dreams, in moments of silence, in the way your heart aches when you see injustice, in the way you can't lie to yourself, no matter how painful the truth is. That's the mark of the chosen. Not comfort, not applause, but authenticity, depth, alignment, and above all, remembrance. You are not broken, you are becoming. You are not cursed, you are called. And your weirdness, it is not a flaw, it is your fingerprint, a divine signature that says, this one is different, this one is awake. And now that you know this, what will you do with it? The price of power, why your pain, is the currency of awakening. There's a quiet truth that lingers in the hearts of the dark chosen ones. A truth that most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. And it is this: pain is not just something to survive, it is something sacred. It is the fire through which all illusions are burned away. It is the crucible that transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. We were never meant to have an easy life. Ease was not part of our contract. From the moment we were born, we were marked not by scars seen by the world, but by the unseen bruises of the soul. The pain you've carried, the betrayals you've endured, the nights you've cried out in silence while the world kept moving, all of it was not a punishment, but a preparation. Why is it that you feel more deeply than others? Why do you grieve things that others seem blind to? Why does your heart feel like it's been broken open again and again, only to keep beating stronger? Because your pain is the currency of awakening. Every wound you've suffered has been a door. And though most of the world locks those doors and throws away the keys, you brave and strange as you are chose to walk through them. And in doing so, you became something different, something rare, something eternal. I know it's exhausting. I know you've begged for rest, for peace, for just one moment where your soul didn't feel like it was carrying the weight of 1,000 lifetimes. But that weight isn't a burden, it's a torch, and only those strong enough to carry it are trusted with it. You've been trusted with truths that would destroy most people. You've been given sight that pierces veils. You've been asked to love in a world that forgets how to feel. That's not weakness. That's divinity in disguise. People often say, "Why me?" But the real question is, why not you? Who else could have survived what you did and still kept their heart open? Who else could have been shattered and still chosen to rebuild with love instead of hatred? That's what makes you different. That's what separates the chosen ones from the masses. We don't just survive pain, we alchemize it. We take the poison and turn it into medicine, not just for ourselves, but for the world. But here's the cost of carrying that medicine. You will often feel like a stranger in your own life. You will drift from people who once felt like home. You will outgrow spaces you once begged to be part of. You will be called cold, detached, or distant, not because you lack feeling, but because you feel too much. And so, you protect yourself, you retreat, you observe, and in that observation, you begin to see patterns others miss. You begin to sense energies before they speak. You begin to hear the unspoken words behind every smile. That level of awareness is both a gift and a curse. It makes intimacy difficult, friendships complicated, and normal life nearly impossible. But here's the secret: you weren't meant for normal life. You were meant for sacred work. You were meant to walk between worlds, to be the bridge between light and shadow, truth and illusion, suffering and salvation. And yes, it's lonely, but it's also liberating. Because once you stop trying to fit in, you start to tune into your own power, your own rhythm, your own divine purpose. Have you ever noticed how your deepest pain often leads to your greatest insights? How the moments that nearly broke you also revealed who you truly are? That's not coincidence. That's design. The universe doesn't waste suffering. Every time you've been brought to your knees, something ancient in you has stood taller. Something eternal in you has awakened. And that awakening is not a one-time event. It's a process, a spiral, a constant death and rebirth. The dark chosen ones die 1,000 times in one lifetime. We shed layers, illusions, identities, beliefs over and over and over again. And each time we come back clearer, stronger, more aligned. Not because we enjoy the pain, but because we understand its purpose. So I ask you, what have you learned from your pain? What truths has it revealed? What strength has it forged in you that no book, no teacher, no doctrine could have ever given? These are not rhetorical questions. They are invitations. Invitations to go deeper, to honor the sacredness of your own journey, to recognize that every scar on your soul is a symbol of initiation. The world needs your medicine, but it will never ask for it in the way you hope. It will not roll out a red carpet and say, "Come, healer, show us the way." No, you will be resisted. You will be doubted. You will be mocked, because your very presence threatens the systems built on sleep. But that's okay. You didn't come here to be accepted. You came here to awaken. And awakening, true awakening, is not soft and sweet. It is fierce. It is raw. It is holy chaos. And you, my friend, are its vessel. The sacred role of the outsider, why you were never meant to fit in. Being an outsider is not a flaw in your design. It is the essence of your mission. You were never meant to fit into the mold. You were never meant to follow the script handed to you by society, family, or tradition. And deep down, you've always known this. From an early age, you felt like a visitor in your own world. While others chased approval, you chased meaning. While they built their lives around comfort, you found yourself drawn to chaos, not because you wanted to suffer, but because you sensed that somewhere in the chaos was truth. And that's what you've always been, hungry for: truth so raw it burns, truth so deep it drowns you, only to lift you up renewed. Outsiders or observers, we see what others miss. We question what others accept. We feel the undercurrents in conversations, the hidden wounds behind laughter, the unsaid grief buried under smiles. At times you probably wondered if you were cursed with too much awareness, but that awareness is your sacred tool. It is what allows you to navigate the world not as a participant in illusion, but as a revealer of what lies beneath. Most people fear silence, fear solitude, fear the unknown, but not you. You've walked into silence and made it your sanctuary. You've stood in the unknown and called it home. That's what makes you different. You see, the world doesn't want you to realize how powerful your solitude is. It wants you to believe you're broken, that your inability to conform is a pathology. But what if your rejection of the herd is your greatest strength? What if the very thing that sets you apart is the thing that will lead others to awakening? Because here's the truth, the herd is asleep, and sleep is comfortable. But you are not here for comfort. You are here for clarity, and clarity often comes at the cost of companionship. You've probably watched people drift away, friends disappear, relationships crumble, not because you did anything wrong, but because your energy demanded honesty. You don't wear masks, and you don't play games, and in a world addicted to performance that makes you dangerous, people sense that they can't be fake around you. They sense that you see them, all of them. And that kind of seeing terrifies those who are not ready to be seen. You are the sacred mirror. You reflect the truth others try to hide from themselves. And that role is not easy. It's lonely. It's heavy. But it's divine. Because in a world drowning in illusion, the outsider is the one who holds the thread of remembrance. We are the ones who remember what others forget, that life is not about accumulation, validation, or domination. It's about awakening. It's about transformation. It's about becoming so real that everything falls away from you like dead skin. And that process, that shedding, is brutal. You've felt it. You've laid awake at night, asking why you can't just be normal, why you can't just be like them. But that's because your soul didn't come here to blend in, it came here to break cycles. And breaking cycles is messy. It means being misunderstood. It means walking away from what's familiar. It means trusting your inner voice even when the outer world calls you insane. But I'll tell you something you need to hear. You are not insane. You are awake. You are not lost. You are becoming. And the emptiness you sometimes feel, that's not a void, it's a space being cleared for something sacred to enter. Something that only comes to those brave enough to walk alone. So let me ask you, what if your loneliness is holy? What if your difference is not a wound, but a weapon? What if you are not meant to be understood by the many, because you were chosen to guide the few who are ready? You are not just an outsider, you are a frontier walker, a system breaker, a truth carrier. And the world may never fully welcome you, but that's okay. You didn't come here to be welcomed. You came here to awaken the ones who forgot they were divine. The final initiation, becoming the living flame. This is where the path leads not to comfort, not to applause, not even to understanding, but to embodiment. The final initiation is not something that happens outside of you. It's not a ritual or a ceremony someone else grants you. It's the moment you look in the mirror and no longer see a fractured soul trying to survive. You see the flame, the living, breathing flame. And you realize you've become what you were always meant to be, not merely a seeker of truth, but a vessel of it, a living transmission of the sacred. The dark chosen ones are not here to worship the flame. We are here to become it. There comes a moment when you stop asking for permission. You stop waiting for the world to recognize your worth. You stop hoping that someone will come along and explain your pain, your power, your purpose. Because you realize you are the explanation, you are the proof, you are the phenomenon. No one else could have walked through what you did and emerged with their heart still intact. No one else could have been buried so deeply and still returned with light. That is the mark of the dark chosen ones. We die and come back different. Not once, but over and over again. Each death strips us of what is false. Each rebirth brings us closer to what is real. And now, you're at the edge of that fire. You can feel it, can't you? The call to stop hiding. The pull to finally step into your role, not as a follower of the light, but as an embodiment of it. Not the sanitized, sugar-coated light that demands you smile while suffering, but the kind of light forged in the underworld. The kind of light that pierces illusions, that burns off dead identities, that makes people tremble because it reminds them of what they've forgotten. That's the flame you carry. That's what you become. This is your final initiation to live as the flame, to speak when others are silent, to love when others hate, to remember when others forget, to walk alone, not because you enjoy loneliness, but because you've become so whole that you no longer need company to feel complete. You are no longer seeking the path. You are the path. So I leave you with this question, the deepest one yet. If you were no longer afraid of your own power, who would you become? Let that question burn inside you. Let it ignite the parts of you still clinging to smallness. Let it consume every lie you've ever believed about being too much, too different, too intense. You are exactly as you were designed to be. And your weirdness, it is the final proof of your calling. They think you're weird. Let them. You are among the 1% that remembers who they are. You are the flame. Now burn.